What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast No Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about The Witcher 3. I thought this would be kind of a fun, different video to do. You know, Sundays tend to be my more experimental day on this channel. And so, if you paid attention to Twitter, you guys follow me on Twitter or seen maybe some of the places I've talked about it, I finally beat, after many, many years, and I'll tell the story in a second, I beat The Witcher 3. So I beat the game. I beat Hearts of Stone at the time that I'm recording this, so I haven't started Blood and Wine yet, but I'll probably be playing it by the time you guys are seeing this video. I've put roughly, I'd say combined, between the main game and then Hearts of Stone, probably around 110 hours. I delved in, and I guess to quickly go over my story, and then we'll talk about how much I do love this game. This is a game that came out notoriously during my long years stretches of not really playing games at all, and certainly not beating them. I shouldn't say not playing games, because I've always played, ever since I was probably like 13, 14. I've played a large amount of games. It's just I never really beat them. The percentage was very low. And ever since January 2020, a year and a half ago, I changed it, and I really made the mental choice to try to actually go back and beat. And I've beaten roughly, I'd say 20 to 25 games over the last year and a half. I don't think I've beaten 20 games in my lifetime, before that. So that's something to note. Witcher 3 came out during that time, right? May of 2015, I believe. And it was I played it. I bought it day one, played it day one, played around 5 to 6 hours, and then just completely dropped it. I watched my cousin play a couple hours of it, and that's it. That's all I did, of the game. When I replayed it, I did remember, weirdly enough, because it was 6 years ago, but I did remember several of the scenes and the quests early on. Obviously, once I got to a certain point, though, I'm like, okay, I'm in no man's land. Like, I don't know what goes on. And I've actually, weirdly enough, like, this is one of the bigger games that have come out in recent, time. I didn't know any spoilers, like, whatsoever. So I actually kept myself, not even on purpose, it just happened. I was in the dark completely on anything that happened in this game for 6 years. So I really went in with a fresh, like, this is my first time experiencing it, I guess besides the first 5-6 hours. The game's phenomenal. The game takes some time. I think, open world games, I love open world games, but they're definitely not my favorite games of, I guess genre of games. And I've always felt that. I feel like, playing through even like Mass Effect, even though Mass Effect I wouldn't even classify necessarily as open world, but, Witcher, Horizon, stuff like that, they're amazing. But like, I don't know, it takes a long time, in my opinion, for the majority of open world games to get good. And I would argue that for The Witcher, and maybe that's just because open world games kind of come in waves, at least to me, right? Where it's like wave one, you're introduced, you have to learn a lot of different things. You have to learn about the world, the characters, the quests, but also all the mechanics. And in open world games, it takes a long time to get all that stuff figured out. Specifically for Witcher, right? Even the different quests, side quests, main quests, Witcher contracts, treasure hunts, like that alone, it takes a little time to get into, using your Witcher senses, fighting, using oils, using potions, the gear system, the weapon system. I mean, that stuff takes time. Gwent, I mean, and granted, that's because The Witcher is such a huge game. That's the strength of it. But it does take a while. So I would say one of the only negatives I have to say about the game is that there's a lot going on, and that is an open world game problem. It's not necessarily a Witcher problem. And much like all other open world games, to me, it did take quite a while. I would say it took probably 6, 7, 8 hours for me to really feel like, okay, I'm in. With that being said, once that happens, you are in. There's very few things, and I actually made a video, I don't know when it goes up on the main channel, but there will be a video talking about things I want the next-gen upgrade to improve. And those things are not like, I hate the game because of it. It's not like those big things. It's like loading times. Roach, I'm not a big fan of, steering him around. It's not very good whatsoever. But those are really the only, I would say that, loading times, Roach, and then interacting with things. Like when you're moving around, it kind of gets very finicky of where Geralt is standing and when he turns and to try to examine something or to loot something. It's not very good compared to games, open world games that have come out in recent time ever since The Witcher, right? But besides those things, the game is, I would say, definitely a masterpiece. I mean, it visually still looks really good right now. There's so much detail in everything, and I mean, detail and everything is in not just like visuals, but just in like how they crafted the world, how they crafted the story, how they crafted the quests. Now, like some quests, another thing is like you can only do so many things in an open world game. You know what I mean? Like the quests can only be so different from each other. With that being said, they do some very different stuff with the quest. Even I'm very glad I am playing like Hearts of Stone and then, now Blood and Wine, because like Hearts of Stone, like there's some quests in there that are very, very different from anything that you ever did in the base game, which I love. I think in terms of diversity goes with structure of missions in terms of an open world game, because it can get very repetitive. I think The Witcher does it phenomenally. The only thing I think they don't do very well in terms of craft, in terms of like repetitiveness, is probably like Witcher contracts. Those are generally always the same. Talk to somebody, investigate, talk to more people, or you talk back to back, then you go investigate, then you find the monster, and then you kill the monster, and then you go get the reward. Like that's pretty much it. But those are like fun things to do. You know what I mean? You face off. There's kind of a repeating cast of monsters, but you're still fighting, relatively different things. It's testing your skill level, all of that stuff. So I don't really have a problem with it. In fact, I love doing all of it. Like I did do all of it. I did the treasure hunts. I did the Witcher contracts. I did the side missions. I even did the question marks, even though the question marks are kind of repetitive. I did as much of it as humanly possible. I mean, again, you may not know me very well, right? But by me telling you I put 110 hours into this game, like that doesn't just happen, okay? Like I put 100 or so hours into Persona 5. That game's a masterpiece. Witcher 3 is a masterpiece. I don't put an insane amount of time, even though, my goal in life now for games is to beat, like if I start a game that I do enjoy, I try to beat it. But like, to put 110 hours into something, I think you really have to like it. So even though I may not be conveying it, just know, I did that because I love this game. And it is really good. Again, like, I talked about, the attention to detail. The characters are phenomenal. Not just the main cast. The main cast is like next level good, right? Geralt is like an elite tier character. Yennefer, Triss, Ciri, all these characters are phenomenal. But then even you go into like side characters, whether it's characters that kind of stick around for a while, or like Dandelion, or even just characters, like I said, Witcher contracts. You're just talking to people, and you only talk to them for like a couple minutes. You can only learn so much about them, but they do a phenomenal job of diversity in that way. Like all these characters, not just like race and gender, but like these characters are just flat out different from each other. So I give them so much props. I mean, it's sad because of what happened, obviously, with Cyberpunk, but I mean, they crafted. At the time, I thought The Witcher 3 was probably the most livable and just believable open world game when it came out. I still kind of think that right now. I don't really know another game that feels more alive. There are moments where it's like, yeah, you're just kind of out. There is nothing kind of going on, but there's just so many activities to do. There's so many things to do. There's so many like random things to kind of just like drive up on, basically, even though you're on a horse or you're just running, right? There's so many things. And then you do have large pockets, basically, of civilization, right? Or you have towns that you can just kind of walk through, and people are always doing things, and you do feel like the world has a pulse, basically. And I thought that back then. Those are all the things I said back then. It's like, this is miraculous that they pulled this off, and I really don't know another open world game even now, 6 years later. Like Ghost of Tsushima is a phenomenal open world game, but it does feel empty a lot of the time. I mean, that's just in my opinion, that's how I feel about it. I'm not saying that makes it like horrible. It's my second favorite game of last year. It's one of my favorite PlayStation games, all that stuff. But I mean, Witcher, again, like I think that's an elite territory open world. I feel like, and I don't think that's a secret, right? I feel like if you want to make a good open world game, you should probably copy a lot of the stuff The Witcher did. Like look at Witcher 3, and if you don't have certain elements, not like literally you have to copy, verbatim, but like you need to. I feel like that's a good blueprint, basically, for what to do. So that's my thoughts. I'm sure I could talk more about it. Like the story was really good. I actually really enjoyed it. The not really leading you, like you pick your path and it's not really clear what you're doing or like how the outcome is going to affect it. There's no perfect choice, for some of these things. Whereas like maybe in Mass Effect, you have a good choice and you have a bad choice, and you know very well which one is which. In Witcher, you really don't, and then those things come back. If you did them wrong, you did them right. Like, those things are going to come back to you, and I really like that. It makes it feel, again, more believable, because it's like you don't know which. You just do what you feel. If you feel this certain way, you do it, and that may come back to haunt you. Maybe that was the quote unquote right choice, right? But that's up to you. That's up to the game. What obviously it's decided behind the scenes. So I love it. I absolutely love it. I could talk more about it, but I'll cap myself off here. Let me know, guys, in the comments below what you think. Did you play The Witcher 3? You can let me know about Blood and Wine, if I'm in for a treat with that one in the comments. Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. I do a brand new video on the channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys for tomorrow's video.